She asked him to leave the restaurant. He had not ordered anything in 2 hours. Customers were staring. What she discovered changed two families forever. Rain pressed softly against the tall windows of Harbor Street Grill in downtown Seattle. Inside, the lights were warm, the tables polished, the air filled with the steady hum of conversations and clinking glasses. It was the kind of Friday night that kept everyone moving fast. Liana adjusted her apron and checked the clock above the bar. 9 in the evening. 2 more hours in her shift. At 26, she had learned how to read a dining room the way other people read a book. She could tell who was celebrating, who was on a first date, who was arguing, who was pretending not to argue. She knew which tables would tip well and which ones would not. She knew how to smile, even when her feet ached. The door opened, and a gust of cold air followed a man inside. He paused just beyond the entrance, as if adjusting to the light. His jacket was dark and worn at the cuffs. His jeans were clean, but old. His beard was slightly overgrown, not careless, but tired. Rain clung to his shoulders. The host gave him a quick look, then glanced around at the full dining room. "Just one?" the host asked. The man nodded. He was seated at a small two-top near the back corner, close to the window, but away from the main traffic. It was a table usually saved for quiet conversations. Liana picked up a menu and a glass of water and walked over. "Good evening," she said. "My name is Liana. I'll be taking care of you tonight." He looked up. His eyes were steady, a soft gray that carried something heavy. "Thank you," he said. She set down the menu and the water. "Can I start you with something warm? It's pretty cold out there." "I'm fine for now," he replied. She gave him a small professional smile and moved on. 20 minutes later, she noticed the menu was still closed. 30 minutes later, the water was untouched. An hour passed. The Friday rush grew louder. Plates moved quickly from the kitchen. A birthday song erupted near the front. Liana checked her section again. The man was still there. He was not on his phone, not reading, not staring out the window. He simply sat upright, hands folded loosely on the table, eyes occasionally shifting toward the door. Liana approached gently. "Sir, can I get you something to eat?" He hesitated. "I'm waiting for someone." "Of course," she said. "Would you like to order while you wait?" "I think I'll wait." She nodded and walked back toward the server station. Another 40 minutes went by. Table 12 complained that their appetizers were slow. Table 9 needed refills. A couple near the bar was arguing loudly. In the middle of it all, the corner table remained still. 2 women at a nearby table whispered, "Has he ordered anything?" "I don't think so." One of them raised her hand and called Liana over. "Is everything okay with that guy?" she asked quietly. "He's been here forever." "He's waiting for someone," Liana answered. The woman's expression tightened slightly. "We just feel a little uncomfortable." Liana offered a reassuring smile. "I'll take care of it." When she returned to the server station, her manager, Mark, was already watching. "He hasn't ordered?" Mark asked. "No." "How long?" "Almost 2 hours." Mark exhaled slowly. "We're on a wait list. We can't have someone camping without ordering. Ask him to order something or free up the table." Just a simple statement. "I understand," Liana replied, lowering her voice. "But it's been almost 2 hours." He gave a faint nod, as if he had expected this. "I'll go," he said. He stood slowly and reached for his jacket. As he slipped his arm into the sleeve, a small white envelope fell from his inner pocket and landed on the floor. Liana bent down and picked it up. On the front, written in careful handwriting, were the words, "For my daughter Emily, if she decides to meet me." Liana froze. "Sir," she said, holding out the envelope. He turned back. "That's mine," he said quietly. She hesitated. "You're waiting for your daughter?" He paused, then nodded. Today is her birthday, he said. 23. Liana swallowed. Does she know you're here? I sent her a message, he said. She hasn't replied in 5 years. I thought maybe. Birthdays are different. There was no self-pity in his tone, just honesty. Why 5 years? Liana asked before she could stop herself. He looked down at the table. I made mistakes, he said. Big ones. After her mother passed, I did not handle things well. I drank too much. I said things I should never have said. She left for college and decided she was done with me. The restaurant noise seemed to fade around them. I got sober, he continued. 3 years now. I wrote letters. I called. She never answered. But last week I saw on social media she moved back to the city. So I thought maybe if I sat where her mother and I used to bring her for birthdays, she might remember. Liana felt heat rise behind her eyes. Why didn't you order? She asked softly. He gave a small, embarrassed smile. I took the bus, he said. I have enough for the ride home. I was hoping if she came, she would let me buy her dinner. If she didn't, I didn't want to spend what little I had. The front door opened. Both of them looked. It was just another couple. He turned back toward Liana. I'm sorry for taking up your time. He began walking toward the exit. Something inside Liana resisted the idea of letting him step back into the rain. Wait, she said. He stopped. Please, she continued, lowering her voice. Sit down. He looked confused. I'll take care of the bill, she said. His eyes widened slightly. You don't have to do that. I know, she replied, but I want to. Mark was already approaching. What's going on? He asked quietly but firmly. Liana met his eyes. He's staying, she said. I'll cover whatever he orders. Mark frowned. Liana. It's my tip money from earlier, she said. Please. Mark looked at the man, then back at Liana. After a long second, he nodded once. Keep it reasonable, he said, and walked away. Liana turned back. Would you like some soup? She asked gently. It's what families usually order on cold nights. He sat back down slowly. That would be nice, he said. She brought him a bowl of tomato basil soup and a cup of coffee. He held the bowl carefully as if it were fragile. Thank you, he said. She returned to her other tables, but her attention drifted back to the corner again and again. 9:30, 9:45, 10. The dinner rush began to thin. Chairs scraped softly as guests left. The wait list disappeared. The man remained seated, the empty bowl pushed aside, his hands folded again. At 10:15 the door opened. A young woman stepped inside. She hesitated just past the entrance, scanning the room. She had dark hair pulled into a low ponytail and wore a navy coat still dotted with rain. Her eyes moved slowly from table to table. They stopped at the corner. The man was already standing. For a few seconds neither of them moved. Liana stood frozen near the server station, pretending to polish silverware. The young woman walked forward carefully, as if approaching something fragile. Hi, she said. Her voice trembled slightly. Hi, M, the man replied. The name seemed to settle the air between them. I wasn't sure you'd come, he said. I wasn't sure either, she answered. He gestured to the chair across from him. Can I sit? She asked. Of course. They both sat down. Liana approached quietly. Can I get you something? She asked the young woman. She glanced at her father, then back at Liana. Just water for now, she said. As Liana placed the glass on the table, she noticed the envelope resting near the man's hand. He picked it up. I wrote you something, he said. Emily stared at the envelope. You could have just texted, she said. I know, he replied, but I wanted to make sure the words were right. She took it slowly. Her fingers traced her name. For a long moment, she did not open it. Then she slid her finger under the flap and unfolded the paper. Her eyes moved across the page. Liana did not hear the words, but she saw the change in Emily's expression. The tightness around her mouth softened. Her shoulders lowered. A tear slipped down her cheek. "I was angry," Emily said quietly, "for a long time." "I know," he replied. "I needed you," she continued, "after Mom died, and you disappeared even though you were in the same house." He nodded. "I was drowning in my own grief. I did not know how to be strong for you." "You scared me," she said. "I scared myself," he answered. There was no defensiveness in his tone, only regret. "I've been sober 3 years," he said. "I go to meetings every week. I have a sponsor. I rent a small apartment near the docks. I work at a repair shop. It's not much, but it's honest." Emily looked at him carefully, as if searching for signs of the past. "You look different," she said. "I am different," he replied, "but I know that doesn't fix what I broke." Silence stretched between them. Liana stepped back, giving them space, but she could not stop listening. "I almost didn't come," Emily admitted. "I was in my car for 20 minutes. He gave a faint smile. "I've been here for 3 hours. 3 hours? I wasn't sure when you'd arrive." She glanced at the empty bowl. "Did you eat?" "A little," he said. Emily looked toward Liana, who quickly looked down at her notepad. "Did you pay?" Emily asked. Her father hesitated. Liana walked back over before he could answer. "It's taken care of," she said gently. Emily studied her. "By who?" "By the house," Liana replied. The man opened his mouth to object, but Liana gave him a small shake of her head. Emily's eyes filled again. "You didn't have to do that," she said to Liana. "I know," Liana answered, "but sometimes a table is worth more than the money it makes." Emily reached across the table. Her father hesitated for just a fraction of a second before placing his hand in hers. It was not dramatic, not cinematic. Just two hands meeting after years of distance. "I can't promise everything goes back to normal," Emily said. "I don't expect it to," he replied. "But maybe we can start with dinner," she continued. He nodded. "I'd like that." Emily picked up the menu. "Let's order something real," she said. Liana felt her chest tighten with quiet relief. She took their order, 2 plates of salmon, extra bread, coffee for both. As the kitchen prepared the food, Liana moved through the closing routine, wiping down menus, rolling silverware, counting tips. When she returned with their plates, they were talking softly, not about the past, but about small things. Her job, his apartment, the weather. It was not a full repair, but it was a beginning. By 11:30 the restaurant was nearly empty. Mark approached Liana. "They're still here," he said. "I know." He watched the corner table for a moment. "Leave them," he said quietly. Midnight neared, when Emily and her father finally stood up. They walked toward the exit together. Before leaving, Emily turned back and approached Liana. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" "For not asking him to leave," Emily replied. "For giving him time." "Happy birthday." Emily's father stepped forward. "I don't know how to repay you," he said. "You already did," Liana answered. He looked confused. "You showed up," she said. They walked out into the night together. The rain had stopped. The next morning, Liana arrived for her afternoon shift. Mark was waiting near the host stand. "You've got something," he said, handing her a printed receipt. It was from the previous night. At the bottom, under the signature line, were new charges added after closing. 2 salmon dinners, dessert, coffee, paid in full. Below that was a tip, $300, and a note. "To the waitress who gave my father another chance. You did not just serve food. You gave us back a conversation we thought was lost forever. Thank you, Emily." Liana stood still, reading it twice. She thought about how close she had come to letting him walk out into the rain. How simple it would have been to follow policy. How easy it would have been to protect a table instead of a moment. That night she returned to work as usual. The dining room filled. Orders were taken. Plates were cleared. But when the door opened and someone stepped inside looking uncertain or alone, she paid closer attention. Because she had learned something that could not be written on a menu. Sometimes people do not come to a restaurant for food. Sometimes they come for courage. And sometimes all they need is a little more time at the table.